Are you sure you know when to fish for trophy Zander in January? I mean, really sure? What if I told you that 90% of anglers targeting that monster winter Zander are fishing at the completely wrong time of day? You heard me right. All those painfully early mornings, sitting in the freezing dark waiting for the sun to rise, might be a total waste of your time. In this video, we're going to blow the lid off the biggest myth in winter Zander fishing. I'm going to show you the specific and often overlooked window when the true giants are actually feeding. And I promise by the end of this, you'll look at your winter fishing schedule completely differently. So let me ask you this right now, and be honest in the comments. What time do you think is the absolute best for a January Zander? Let's see who's already on the right track. For generations, the wisdom has been the same, passed down from father to son, from one fishing buddy to another. You've got to be there at first light, or the last hour before dark is magic. And for many species and in other seasons, that's solid advice. It's become muscle memory. The alarm goes off at 4 in the morning, you grab your gear, and you're on the ice while the stars are still out. It's what we do, it's the ritual. But January is a different beast entirely. The water is brutally cold, the fish are lethargic, and the rules of the game change. The problem is, our habits often don't. We keep applying the same logic from October to the dead of winter, wondering why we're putting in so much effort for so little reward. We see others doing it, so we assume it's the right way. Today, we break that cycle. First, let's establish the scene. Picture the world under the ice in January. The water is just a few degrees above freezing, maybe 37 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. In this environment, a Zander's metabolism slows to a crawl. It's not an active predator, roaming and hunting. It's an energy-conserving machine. Digestion takes days, not hours. The need to feed is drastically reduced. It's not looking for a meal every day. It's looking for one perfect, easy opportunity once every few days. This is the absolute key you must understand. You aren't trying to tempt a hungry fish. You're trying to present a zero-effort meal to a fish that is trying to burn as few calories as possible. Every other piece of this puzzle builds upon this fundamental truth about a Zander's winter state. So let's tackle the biggest myth head-on, the dawn bite. We're programmed to think low light equals active predators, but in January, first light is a trap. The water has just gone through its longest, coldest period, the entire night. It's at its absolute minimum temperature. There is no external factor, no change to trigger a feeding response. The Zander is in its most dormant state. Think of it like this. You don't jump out of bed and immediately run a marathon. The fish is the same. It needs a trigger, a slight shift in its environment. At 6 or 7 in the morning in the dead of winter, that trigger simply hasn't happened yet. You're essentially casting your lure at a sleeping fish, hoping to annoy it into biting. It's a low percentage game. Now let's talk about what the Zander's food is doing. The bait fish, the roach, the perch, they are just as cold and lethargic. They aren't scattering in the low light. They are tightly schooled together in big, slow-moving balls, also conserving energy. Their movements are minimal. They often sit very close to the bottom, barely moving at all during the coldest parts of the day, which includes the early morning. A trophy Zander knows this. It knows where the pantry is. It will often suspend nearby, watching this ball of bait, waiting. It's not going to waste energy chasing a single, frantic baitfish. It's waiting for the entire school to make a subtle move, presenting an easy opportunity for an ambush. Their behavior is directly linked to when the Zander will decide to strike. So, if the morning is a bust, what happens as the day progresses? This is where the magic starts. Let's talk about the sun. Even on a cloudy day, and even through a layer of ice and snow, solar radiation penetrates the water. It's a very weak effect, but it's an effect nonetheless. As the sun gets higher in the sky, from around 10 o'clock in the morning onwards, it begins to warm the upper layers of the water by a fraction of a degree. We're not talking about a big temperature swing, maybe just a tenth of a degree, but in a stable, freezing environment, this tiny change is like a dinner bell. It's the most significant environmental shift that will happen all day, and the entire aquatic ecosystem responds to it. This brings us to the real golden window. Forget dawn and dusk. In my experience, and the experience of many top anglers who figured this out, the prime time for a trophy zander in stable, midwinter conditions is between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. This is the period of maximum solar influence. It's the warmest part of the day, even if warm is a relative term. I can't tell you how many times I've sat through a dead silent morning, only to have all the action happen in a furious 45-minute window right around noon. It's the time when most anglers are thinking about coffee or heading in for lunch, and it's the exact time you should be at your most focused. Let me give you a real-world example. I was out on a massive reservoir, notoriously tough Zander water in winter. I got there at sunrise like everyone else, drilled my holes, set up my gear. For 4 hours, from 6 until 10, I saw nothing, not a single mark on the sonar. I talked to 2 other guys, and they had the same story. They started packing up around 10:30, complaining about the dead water. I decided to stick it out. At 11:15, I saw the first sign. A faint cloud of baitfish lifted about a foot off the bottom on my screen. 5 minutes later, a thick red arch appeared just below them. A big zander had moved in. I dropped my lure, and the rest is history. That fish never would have been caught if I had followed the crowd and left. Why does this happen? That tiny bit of solar energy does 2 things. First, it can stimulate the plankton in the water, which causes the bait fish to rise ever so slightly in the water column to feed. This movement, this subtle shift of the entire school, is the trigger. The trophy zander, who has been watching them motionless for hours, sees this as the perfect moment. The entire buffet is now active and slightly more vulnerable. It's the sign that it's time to eat. The zander moves in from its suspended hiding spot, picks off an easy meal, and then goes right back to conserving energy. It's a short, efficient, and predictable event if you know when to look for it. The second factor at play here is light penetration and the zander's incredible eyesight. Zander are built for low light hunting, but under a thick layer of ice and snow, it's always low light. The midday sun, even when weak, creates just enough contrast and definition for them to hunt with maximum efficiency. It's not bright enough to bother them, but it's just enough to give them a superior advantage over their prey. Think of it as the perfect dim lighting for a stealthy assassin. They can see every detail of the baitfish while they themselves remain hidden in the gloom below. This visual advantage peaks during that midday window when the sun is at its highest angle. Another element to consider is barometric pressure. On those classic, cold and stable January days, you often have a high-pressure system sitting over you. This high, stable pressure is often associated with tougher fishing. However, the most stable part of the day with the least fluctuation is typically during this midday period. Fish, especially large, sensitive predators like zander, prefer stability. A stable pressure combined with that slight solar trigger creates a moment of confidence. It's a brief window where conditions are as good as they are going to get, and the big, cautious fish feel secure enough to make their move. The morning and evening often involve more pressure fluctuations as the temperatures change. So, how should you adjust your strategy? It means a psychological shift. First, You don't need to kill yourself getting to the lake at 5 in the morning. Getting there at 8 or even 9 is perfectly fine. Use that morning time to scout, drill holes, and study your map. Find the key structures, the deep points, the underwater humps, the river channel edges. Get set up on the most promising spot before the window opens. Your goal is to be in position and ready by 10 o'clock. The period from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is not the time to be running and gunning looking for fish. It's the time to be patiently waiting for the fish to come to you. Imagine this scene. It's 11:30 in the morning. You've been sitting on a prime spot for an hour and a half. Other anglers are walking past you, heading back to the parking lot. They shout over, "Any luck?" You shake your head. "Not yet." They laugh and say, "Yeah, it's dead today." You just smile, because you're not fishing for today. You're fishing for the next hour. You're watching your electronics like a hawk, waiting for that subtle sign, that lift in the baitfish. You know the bite is not a matter of if, but when. This is the confidence that comes from fishing during the high percentage window instead of just guessing. Now, what about the dusk bite? Is it completely useless? No, not always. You can still catch Zander in the last hour of light. However, in my experience, the January dusk bite is often faster, more frantic, and tends to attract smaller, more aggressive male fish. They move up onto shallower flats to chase scattered prey. The true trophies, the big females, often don't participate in this frenzy. They stick to their energy-saving plan. They've likely already eaten their one meal during the midday window and have no reason to expend more energy on a chaotic evening chase. So if you're after any Zander, dusk can work. If you're after the fish of a lifetime, midday is your bet. Let's compare the two bites directly. The midday bite is often subtle. It might just be one or two solid thumps on your lure. The fish takes the bait and just sits there. It's a lazy, opportunistic take. The dusk bite is often a sharp, aggressive whack. It's a reaction strike. The midday fish is the big, old, wise matriarch making a calculated move. The dusk fish is the scrappy teenager trying to grab a quick snack before bed. Both are fun, but if your goal is that trophy on the wall or a new personal best, you need to target the fish with the right behavior at the right time. You need to focus on the calm midday hunt. Your lure choice and presentation should also change for this midday approach. Forget aggressive ripping and jigging. You want slow and subtle. Large, soft plastics on a light jig head are perfect. The goal is to lift the lure slowly, maybe a foot or two off the bottom, and let it glide back down on a semi-slack line. Let it sit on the bottom for 10, even 15 seconds at a time. You are mimicking a dying or disoriented baitfish, the easiest possible meal. A dead stick approach, where a live or dead bait is simply suspended motionlessly below a float or a tip-up, can also be incredibly effective during this time. It's a game of ultimate patience. I remember a conversation with an old-timer on the ice. He was a classic dawn and dusk fisherman. He saw me setting up at 9:30 and just shook his head, saying, "You're a bit late, son. The bite was over hours ago." I just nodded and went about my business. At 12:15, my rod bent double. After a long, slow fight, a massive Zander lay on the ice. The old-timer wandered over, his jaw practically on the ice next to the fish. He just stared and said, "I've been fishing this lake for 40 years and I've never ever seen a fish like that caught in the middle of the day." It was a perfect lesson. Tradition isn't always right. This strategy isn't just about catching more fish, it's about efficiency. Think about how much time and energy you waste. You get up at a crazy hour, you sit in the brutal cold for hours with no action, and you're tired and frustrated by 10 a.m. By switching your focus to the 10 to 2 window, you can get a good night's sleep, arrive at the lake feeling fresh, and focus your energy and attention on the 4 hours that matter most. You're fishing smarter, not harder. Your time on the water becomes more productive and, honestly, a lot more enjoyable. You're not fighting the conditions, you're using them to your advantage. Now, it's crucial to state that this is not a 100% guaranteed rule. Fishing is never that simple. Are there exceptions? Of course. A major weather front moving in, a sudden pressure drop, or a significant change in conditions can throw this all out the window and trigger a bite at any time. If you have a warm, overcast and windy day, the bite might be more spread out. But we are talking about the most common January scenario: cold, clear, stable, high-pressure days. On those days, which make up the bulk of the winter, this midday pattern holds true with incredible consistency. It's a baseline you can build your entire strategy around. Your electronics are your best friend in confirming this pattern. Don't just drill a hole and start fishing, spend time watching your sonar. In the morning, you'll likely see baitfish locked on the bottom and very few, if any, predator marks. As you approach that 10 o'clock mark, keep your eyes glued to the screen. The moment you see that ball of bait start to change shape, to lift even slightly, that is your signal. That is the dinner bell ringing. This visual confirmation will give you the confidence to stick with the plan, even when your instincts are telling you that fishing in the bright sun is wrong. The screen doesn't lie. Think about the social proof of it all. At 1 p.m. on a Saturday in January, how many people are on the ice? Very few. The parking lots are half empty, the early bird crowd has gone home. The evening crowd hasn't arrived yet, the lake is quiet and peaceful. This gives you another massive advantage: less pressure. The fish are more relaxed. You have your pick of the prime spots without competition. By simply zigging when everyone else zags, you are putting yourself in the best possible position to succeed. You are leaving the crowded, low-percentage times to everyone else and saving your effort for the quiet, high-percentage window. So the final piece of the puzzle is a mental one. You have to unlearn years of conditioning. You have to trust the process, even when it feels wrong. The first few times you try this, you will feel like you're late to the party. You'll have to fight the urge to pack it in when the sun is high, but when you connect with that first midday monster, a switch will flip in your brain. You'll understand that you haven't just learned a new fishing tip. You've learned to see the winter world through the eyes of the Zander itself, understanding its needs, its triggers, and its schedule. And that knowledge is far more valuable than any lure in your tackle box. So let's wrap this all up. We've been taught for years that dawn and dusk are the magic hours, but in the cold, stable world of January, the trophy Zander plays by a different set of rules. It's all about energy conservation. The most significant event of the day is that midday window from roughly 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., when the weak winter sun provides just enough of a trigger to get the entire food chain moving. The baitfish stir and the biggest, wisest Zander take advantage of this predictable, easy meal. The real what a twist moment here is realizing that the prime time to be on the ice is the exact time most anglers are heading home. By shifting your schedule, focusing your efforts on this 4-hour window, and using a patient, subtle approach, you dramatically increase your odds of catching not just any Zander, but the fish of a lifetime. This one change can completely transform your winter fishing success. Thank you so much for watching. If this video challenged what you thought you knew, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed for more content that breaks the mold. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the most surprising or unconventional catch you've ever had, and what time of day was it? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's talk about it.